Yo, how's it going everybody? It's DJ Sketch and welcome back to the channel. And today we're taking a look at Vapor Trail, the vertical shoot 'em up developed by Data East and published by Telenet, and distributed by Renovation Products. This released in arcades in 1989 and received a port to the Sega Genesis in 1991. Through 6 stages of pure action, you pilot your choice of 3 aircrafts and try to do your best to survive the aerial onslaught that lie ahead. The story goes a bit like this. The year is 1999. A terrorist group known as Dagger has occupied New York City, where they have hacked into military defenses worldwide, established their own military command, and now have access to nuclear missile silos. The world is being held hostage and will only back down once the world relinquishes their power to Dagger. A Special Forces air unit has been called in to counterattack and cripple their defenses in headquarters. It's up to you to defeat Dagger and save the world. Sounds simple enough, right? In Vapor Trail, you'll pick your craft and go, pretty much. It's a little strange that there's only settings for easy and hard, which is actually more realistically being normal and very hard. Vapor Trail will definitely serve up quite a challenge, and with its 5 credits to get through the entire game, 6 levels, it's going to take some quick wits to stay in the skies. Oh, it's also one of those games too where it has checkpoints shortly before the boss fights, and if you get shot down before that point, you have to start the stage from the beginning. However, once you get past that point, you'll be able to respawn right where you were shot down, so luckily you can also take 3 hits before losing a stock. But still, with some of these enemy formations, you can get bodied quickly, and I do mean quickly. You have 5 weapon power-ups throughout play, being the standard Vulcan shot, which has a bit of a spread to it. Bombs, which I try to hang on to when I get it, is a straight firing missile that does heavy damage. The Defender, which fires an explosive cluster around your craft, which actually works pretty good for crowd control. And the homing missiles that fire all around you in 8 directions and also will home in on the nearest enemy. And there's also the S unit power-up, which when equipped will soup up your craft and actually give you like a little bit of a barrier, and you can actually detonate a giant bomb around you. But that has a decent amount of splash damage, so that one's pretty sick when you can get it. The sound it makes when you pick up an item kind of sounds like the part in The Cable Guy when Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick are fighting at medieval times. I don't know why I think of that every time I hear a sound pickup, but that's just what it sounds like to me. I don't know, it's weird, but graphics wise there are some really good visual effects, but there's also going to be a lot of moments where the game is going to be hit with slowdown, which is kind of surprising. This is actually one of the few Renovation games I know of that actually does have a significant amount of slowdown. But aside from that, sprites look decent, and there are also some really nice environments to fly through on your aerial tour of New York City. There's even a bit where you can go into space, and that part's pretty tight too, where you actually go to blow up a missile that's going into the air. Pretty sick. Audio wise, this game has some great tunes. The boss tunes are pretty varied, and there's even some voice synthesis here throughout the game as well. It's kind of dope that the title screen actually says Vapor Trail, even though it's like a little bit grainy, but even so, it's got charm to it. The music overall is pretty good, even though the main theme is played throughout the first 5 stages, and 6 is being the only one where you don't hear the intro tune. Also, all the boss encounters have pretty cool tunes as well, so I won't knock it too much for that. Gameplay wise, this is pretty tough. The first couple levels you'll cruise through, but by around level 4 and 5, the game takes the gloves off and lets it rip, because stage 5 honestly gave me the most trouble, because this is where pretty much my run hit a snag, pretty much in the practice run and the recording run here. And the best thing I can suggest for this game is try not to lose your power-ups, especially when you're on a streak of not getting shot down, because stuff gets really tough when you actually have to start the whole level again, going back to the whole checkpoint thing I mentioned earlier. Once you get shot down, you lose all your power-ups and you have to start at the beginning, and once you're underpowered, the game gets even more challenging until you can get somewhat powered up again. So all in all, Vapor Trail is a pretty decent game, but what shines more than the gameplay itself is the music. Honestly, the music is the best part. And I'm not trying to say it's not a solid shoot 'em up, because it is. The only things I can really dock it for is the game being a little bit on the short side, and also it gets especially kind of frustrating too, like when you do get shot down and have to start over, it gets a lot tougher than maybe it needs to be, but still at the same time, it's doable, you know? Still, the game, it's going to force you to get good in order to make it to the end, but still, overall, it's pretty solid, you know? Like, I'm not going to knock it too much. There's a couple small nitpicks. The slowdown is one thing too, but overall, I had a good time with it. Vapor Trail gets an 8. It's a pretty solid game, but also it's one of those more obscure games that I don't know if it really merits the price of entry. I mean, it'd be cooler if this game were a lot cheaper, But it's one of those things, if you really want to go the emulation route and you don't want to pay the price per cart or complete, which I can totally understand, go for it, just emulate it. If you're about shoot 'em ups and you really like that genre as a whole, this is a good one to check out, absolutely. You won't be disappointed. But I thank you again for checking out the video. If you found these reviews helpful, that's awesome. I'm glad you can use it as a resource. And check back soon. We have some more Genesis reviews and other cool stuff coming up in the future. But until then, stay safe out there. Take it easy. I'll see you on the next one.